Hello, I'm Cameron Walker and you're watching GBN Royal, and Meghan Markle's new 8-part Netflix documentary series has just dropped. And I'm going to be telling you all about it here. Now, full disclosure, I have not managed to get through all of the episodes yet, but I have watched a significant chunk of it. First of all, let's take it at face value and forget the fact that it is Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, presenting it. I would describe it as a bit of an idealized luxury Californian lifestyle cooking series. Something that's quite easy to binge, something that's quite easy to watch when you're hungover on a Sunday, for example. However, because it's Meghan Markle, clearly we have all of these caveats. For example, would she have got this Netflix series and deal if she hadn't married into the royal family and hadn't been given this global platform by marrying Prince Harry and then, of course, the dramatic exit as a working member of the royal family to move to California? I think that's the first thing to point out. Also, I think a lot of people are going to point out the fact that she is giving a very idealized version of her life. And what I mean by that is she makes a fruit salad, but she goes one step further for her children. She makes it into this massive rainbow shape, which I think a lot of mothers would argue we don't have time to do that in the morning as we're trying to get the children off to school. Meghan does make the point that she has to be very fast-paced in the morning in order to get Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet to nursery and school, but I think perhaps that's going to grate with some people. A shocking claim, though, in episode 2, when her friend Mindy Kaling, a fellow actress, calls her Meghan Markle, and Meghan says, "I'm no longer Meghan Markle. My surname is Sussex. It's a family name, our little family name, and it's one that I share with our children, and it's very important to me." So her name is Meghan Sussex. Of course, that title given to her and Prince Harry when they married in 2018 by Queen Elizabeth II. They were given the titles Duke and Duchess of Sussex. This could unfortunately not go down very well with the British public, because they are titles given to them as working members of the royal family. Meghan visited Sussex once in her entire life as a working royal, and she did not acknowledge the fact that that is where the name came from in the series. She says it's just the family name that she shares with her children. It's her own little family unit. So I think for the people of Sussex and Great Britain, I don't think that's going to go down particularly well. Meghan throughout the series also wears the Cartier watch once owned by Diana, Princess of Wales, which Prince Harry inherited when his mother lost her life in a car crash in Paris, and has since passed on to Meghan since their marriage. So perhaps a nod to Princess Diana in this series too. But Meghan also reveals an argument that she has had with Prince Harry over the word ladybird or ladybug. She is making with her friends Mindy Kaling these little how do I describe it? These little sandwiches, really, using a tomato for a ladybird and little drops of balsamic vinegar on it to make the black dots on them. All sounds very cute, but she reveals that she gets into an argument with Prince Harry about what it's called. Because remember, Prince Harry grew up in England. We call them ladybirds. In America and in California, they call them ladybugs. A small point, but a bit of nice, interesting interaction between their personal, private life. Now, the show itself, there was a lot of hoo-ha when this was discovered, is not actually shot in Meghan Markle's own kitchen. It's a rented house by Netflix in California. And a lot of people were criticizing Meghan at the time, saying that she's very fake. This isn't her real life. It's filmed in a fake Netflix house. Meghan does actually acknowledge that in episode 1 and say, this isn't my real life house. This is just a kitchen. And then I'm going to bring all of these treats and goodies and candles that I'm making back to my other friend, who's the makeup artist, who she's known for years, who did her makeup at the wedding, back to my real life house. So she does acknowledge that, even, and of course we didn't know that at the time. She got all of that criticism. But we do get little snippets of her private world in her Montecito mansion. There's a few still photographs. For example, there's a picture that she shared with us of her copper compost bin in her actual kitchen in Montecito. There's also shots within the grounds of Meghan's mansion, for example, collecting honey from her beehives or feeding the chickens in the chicken coop. And she's very careful to point out that those chickens are rescue chickens from a battery farm in the United States. We know Camilla, the Queen, has adopted some rescue dogs from Betsy. Meghan adopts chickens from a factory. Well, there's a comparison for you. Now, Meghan, since stepping back as a working member of the royal family, has received a lot of accusations of bullying and generally not being nice to those below her. Meghan and her lawyers have always denied those allegations, but she kind of, I think, subtly addresses that within this series. 2 instances. In episode 1, her friend Daniel Martin, the makeup artist, cuts his hand with a knife accidentally. And Meghan comes to the rescue because she gets out the first aid kit, she stems the blood, and she puts a plaster on her hands. Very loving, very caring. She also makes a cup of coffee for one of the production team, which happens to be caught on camera, showing that she is being nice to all the production crew, all the staff. There are definitely varying reports as to how nice Meghan was to production crew when she was either on Suits or working on commercials and things like that. There have been some quite horrible allegations. There's also been some testimony that Meghan's was actually generally really nice to a lot of her staff. But of course, we do know that a number of staff members, when she was a working member of the royal family, left the household. We know that Jason Kennelth, the former communications secretary to William and Harry and Meghan and Catherine, put in a bullying complaint to Prince William's private secretary against Meghan. But as I said, Meghan has always denied those allegations. I just thought it was really interesting that they were clearly making a point of Meghan being nice to people within this 8-part series. And then we come to the final episode, and Prince Harry appears at this party she's throwing for some friends and her family. And they kiss, they look very loving, they look very happy. Harry looks genuinely proud of his wife, and perhaps so he should be in that instance, because she does present this. I would love to be at this party, to be honest. It looks exquisite. The food is so well presented. It looks incredibly tasty. There's lots of drinks flowing in this magnificent Californian garden. I think, as I said at the beginning, if you take this at face value and it's this idealized Californian lifestyle, fly on the wall documentary, if that's your thing, absolutely great. I think, a lot of people are going to be in for watching that kind of thing. But to trying to present it or thinking that it is real life Meghan, I think that's up for debate. Does she really have the time to make the fruit platters of rainbows? Does she really have the time to do these little details or make candles? Maybe she does. Maybe she actually does. But I think a lot of parents out there will be thinking, we do not have time to do that. And also, unfortunately for Meghan, there's always going to be this point that she got all this fame because she married into the royal family. Now, Meghan would argue this all happens by chance, that she stood back as a working member. She generally wanted her time as a working member of the royal family to work and didn't want it to end, but she was forced out because of bad publicity or invasions of privacy or Harry's alleged paranoia, for example. But, what's happened is happened, and she's doing this Netflix series. She has to make money. And on that point, she did a interview with the US magazine, People magazine, where she says, I don't want to be an influencer. I'm not an influencer. I'm an entrepreneur. And on that point, as ever, her lifestyle company that she set up is intertwined with this Netflix series. And I suspect some of the products and some of the stuff she's making in this 8-part series is going to feature on the As Ever website. Here's what I said on Breakfast and Britain's Newsroom.
It's very glossy. It's very Netflix.
It looks very glossy.
Meghan looks very glamorous. She's been getting some honey out of her beehives in her garden in Montecito. She then somehow transitions into what Netflix and Meghan would like the viewers to perceive is her actual home, but we already know that it isn't. It was a home in California hired by Netflix to film the show, which is totally fine. It's giving an idealized idea of a Californian lifestyle, I would say. If you take it as face value, and we forget the fact that it's Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, who left as a working member of the royal family and had married Prince Harry, I would say it's quite a bingeable, easy watch if you are into that kind of idealised luxury lifestyle programme. Because it's Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, obviously we have all of these caveats where she's spoken before about kind of what she thinks, kind of should be the ideal. A lot of people, that kind of grates with some people. A lot of people are saying, well, she's only got this Netflix deal because she stood back as a working member of the royal family. We know the first Netflix series where her and Harry documented their exit from the royal family did very well for them. But there are other Netflix projects, Harry's Invictus one, for example. There was also one about female leaders as well. That didn't do particularly well. So it'll be interesting to see how this one, where it is kind of a fly on the wall of what Meghan would like people to see as her life, does. And of course, the TIG did very well for her before she met Prince Harry, this online lifestyle blog.
Well, this is an interesting move for her, isn't it? And it's a risk, really, isn't it, Cameron? Because she did do the TIG in 2014, didn't she? And it was a really successful lifestyle blog. It's almost as if she wants to go back to that Meghan And can she, do you think, after everything that's gone between with the royal family?
Well, that's exactly right. She gave an interview to People magazine overnight where she says she wants to be an entrepreneur, not an influencer. And as you said, the TIG did very well. She's just recently relaunched her lifestyle brand. Used to be called American Riviera Orchard, but that ran into lots of problems. Now it's called As Ever, which has run into its own set of problems. But Meghan's been teasing the idea that this lifestyle programme is going to somehow be kind of woven into her lifestyle brand, so the two can kind of match up. So we'll see how much money it makes Meghan. To be fair to her, she's allowed to make as much money as she wants. She's no longer constrained by royal finances. But I think there is a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, particularly here in the United Kingdom, because it was such a messy exit. Some would accuse her of capitalising on her connections with the royal family. Meghan would say she was forced to leave the royal family because of all what she would see as problems associated with it. So we'll just have to wait and see how this Netflix series does. But I suspect if this series doesn't do well, I think this could be the last chance saloon in terms of their Netflix deal, because it is up for renewal later this year, and only one of the series really has rated particularly well, and that was their first one, talking about their connections with the royal family.
Yeah, and you can understand why that did so well, because of what they were talking about. Will we get a glimpse of Prince Harry in this series?
We do. In the final episode, I'm told, Prince Harry appears at this kind of garden party that Meghan throws with a load of her Hollywood friends, but it's very fleeting. This is very much Meghan's project, and I think Harry was quite keen for it to be Meghan's project. Meghan posted on her Instagram story overnight a bouquet of flowers with little notes written by her children and Prince Harry saying they're very proud of her as well. So we'll see. But it is mainly Meghan, I would say.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching. This has been Cameron Walker for GBM Royal. Let us know what you think of Meghan's new series in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome back, Royal Sussex Squad. Today, we're diving into Meghan Markle's latest Netflix series. And once again, the media vultures are out in full force, twisting narratives and clutching their pearls over fruit salads and candles. But here's what they don't want you to see. Meghan isn't just serving style. She's serving substance, grace and joy in the face of relentless scrutiny. So while critics are busy dissecting her rainbow fruit platters and her beehive in Montecito, we're going to look at what's really going on. A woman reclaiming her voice, redefining success on her own terms, and building a sanctuary for her family far away from the toxic walls of the monarchy. Let's get into it. Meghan's new Netflix docuseries is a warm, elegant glimpse into a lifestyle built with love, creativity, and freedom. And of course, the haters are furious. Why? Because this series doesn't fit their lazy narrative of a bitter duchess. Instead, it shows Meghan as a loving mother, a devoted wife, and a visionary entrepreneur. And that terrifies them. Critics scoff at her crafting a rainbow-shaped fruit salad for her kids, calling it unrealistic. But maybe, just maybe, Meghan wants to show the magic of motherhood when you're finally free to be yourself. Maybe she wants to demonstrate that joy, detail, and care aren't performative. They're restorative. And then there's the uproar over her calling herself Meghan Sussex. Apparently, it's outrageous for her to cherish the name she shares with her husband and children. But let's be real. If any other woman took pride in her family name, no one would blink. The double standard here is glaring. She's not clinging to a title. She's embracing her family. That's love, not opportunism. They also resurrect old bullying allegations, all of which Meghan and her legal team have firmly denied. And yet, here she is, showing kindness, offering care, building a warm community around her. Not because she has to, but because that's who she is. This series subtly shuts down those smears without shouting. Meghan lets her actions speak louder than their gossip ever could. The final episode ends with Prince Harry arriving at a garden party she hosts for family and friends. They look happy, affectionate, and strong. A couple thriving despite everything the tabloids have hurled at them. Harry's pride in Meghan radiates off the screen. And who could blame him? She's created something beautiful against all odds. Critics say she only got this opportunity because she married Harry, but let's not pretend Meghan wasn't already successful. She built a career, had a hit blog, and was recognised for her activism long before royal life. If anything, it's the royal institution that clung to her star power and then punished her for shining too bright. So let them rage over rainbow fruit and ladybugs, because while they nitpick, Meghan is thriving. She's raising her kids in peace, creating thoughtful content, and building a future that has nothing to do with royal titles and everything to do with purpose. Here on Royal Sussex Squad, we see through the noise. We stand with Harry and Meghan and we celebrate every step they take on their journey of healing and success. If you loved today's breakdown and want more truth over tabloid, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that bell so you never miss an episode. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, please consider donating via Super Thanks. It helps us keep delivering the content the mainstream won't.